Hello and welcome back yet again to the Bibbs Corner podcast. I am your host, as always, Mike Bibbins. That's on Twitter at Bibbs Film for the movie stuff, or at Bibbs Corner for the sports stuff. It has been quite a while since I did a movie review podcast, and I have continued to watch movies. So I titled this one the movie review Purge because I am going to be doing 3 movie reviews in this one. Don't think I'm going to do the elevator reviews, just going to get straight to business. These movies have all been out for over a month, so I'm not worried about spoilers to that degree. Just going to give it to you however it comes. So the 3 movies I'm going to be talking about on this podcast are Miss Juneteenth, Spell, and His House. And all 3 of these movies have black leads, and something I was trying to do at some point and I'm glad it kind of works that way, that I get to do all 3 of these together, and they kind of have some similarities, even though 2 are horror movies and 1 is a drama. I still felt like I could tie them together in that way. So I enjoyed all 3 movies to a certain degree. Not the same degree, but at least none of them I wanted to cut off at any point. Even the one out of the 3 that I wasn't critically great was entertaining. So I'm gonna shut up. I like to talk too much on these intros. I'm trying to do better about that. So I'm gonna shut up and take a quick break, and I'll come back with we'll start with Miss Juneteenth. Okay, so Miss Juneteenth we're starting out with because it is the drama, and the other 2 are horror movies. And Miss Juneteenth stars Nicole Bieri. I'm not sure how her name is pronounced exactly. And then Alexis Chikazi plays her daughter. And the story is about a woman who is living in the Fort Worth area, actually, and she was the winner of the Miss Juneteenth pageant as a teenager. And winning that pageant in the area get you a scholarship to go to whatever, I believe, HBCU you would like. And basically it's supposed to be like a springboard to your future success, basically. So she won this pageant as a teenager, and life has not gone for her the way that she expected. When we meet her, she's a single mom. She's working at like a hole-in-the-wall diner / club type thing. And you could tell she's not happy with where she is in life, really. She has a teenage daughter now who is of age to compete in the pageant. And she's pushing her daughter to do this, though it is very clear that the daughter has no... she does not want to be in this pageant. It's very obvious to us. But it's like her mom can't even see how her daughter is reacting to certain things. And from time to time, the daughter, she'll show those signs, but at the same time, she'll realize how important it is to her mother, and she'll play along enough. The things that I liked about this movie is, first of all, the details. I think in movies like this, it's easy to get caught up in your main characters and focused on just them, and the background characters and the details with those characters don't matter as much. But that did not happen in Miss Juneteenth. All of the characters in this movie feel authentic. Like, I felt like I could name people in my real life to go for each character that you meet. I'm not from the Fort Worth area at all. I'm technically not from the South, but it just made me feel like, as a black moviegoer, there, no matter where you come from, no matter where you are in this country, like if your roots, your family's descendants of slaves, they spread out after slavery ended, but all the culture and the customs and just the way that we interact as a community just traveled everywhere we went. Like there's a lady in the movie that looks and acts exactly like one of my aunts, for example. One of the ladies she works with at the bar club, and it's just interesting to see that, and it goes back to the whole idea of being able to have a black director writer tell an authentic story from her point of view. And again, those details matter, and that sucked me in almost immediately. Was just the authenticity of the characters. So Nicole Bierry, the lead, has a very strong performance in this movie. There's no really over the top dramatic scene that those award type movies like to do. It was just a very quietly powerful performance, and again, her portrayal of a woman who was given a head start in life and is carrying herself and or feeling like she blew it, and trying to prevent her daughter from doing the same thing in the best way she knows how, regardless of the clear signs that her daughter is not feeling it. You know, she's a parent, so she knows better. She knows what's best for her daughter. She's willing to make sacrifices and go the extra mile to give her daughter the same opportunity she had, with the hopes that she won't go down the same path. And again, she's not completely down on herself, but it's clear that she feels like she's supposed to be somewhere else, or she knows that the perception is that she was supposed to be somewhere else, that she was supposed to make something greater of herself with her accomplishment. In a way, she's trying to live vicariously through her daughter, and she wants it so badly for her daughter that she can't even see who her daughter is. Like there's times where she's like micromanaging the details of her daughter's pageant performance. Like the daughter's going along with it, but for example, the talent portion. When she won, she read a Maya Angelou poem, and so now she wants her daughter to read the same poem. And her daughter is a dancer. Her daughter enjoys dancing. She wants to dance for her talent, and the mom is just not hearing it at all, and is making her practice this poem. And it's tough because you can see almost a blindness to what's happening between herself and her daughter during those moments. Like she's so locked in on what has to happen that she's not really seeing or listening to anything her daughter is saying. So that part of it is interesting, and it's difficult at times to see, because it just feels like it's not going to go well, and it's going to be bad for everybody. Like you feel like it's going to blow up at some point. And that's where I'll stop as far as saying how it does end up going. It was tied together very nicely. So besides the daughter-mother story, there are two other things happening. One with her work life. So I mentioned she's working at the bar club type place, and she's also doing some work at the funeral home, where she's doing like makeup for some of the people that are going to be, memorialized or having funerals, whatever the case may be. She's doing some of the makeup. And the guy at the funeral home is apparently a childhood friend, and he clearly has feelings for her. And he's expressed this to her, that he wants to, help her. And of course, she's accepting the help in the sense of the job. And he's trying to offer her, I can bring you on, full time. It'll be more money for you. I just want to help you out, type of thing. But he's not like doing it like, I don't think he's going too far with it. Like you can tell that the concern that he has is genuine, and he's not like trying to force her into anything. He's trying to keep his distance while at the same time letting her know, like, hey, I want to take care of you, type of thing. So there's that. The fact that there are some financial issues at the bar place, and then the fact that the father of her child is a guy. He's working at a mechanic shop, but you can tell he's like one of those guys that has like a past. Like he's the bad boy, and she still has. It's hard to get away from that. I'll say first love. You get that vibe from them. Like they've known each other since they were kids, and obviously they had a kid together. So even though they're not together, he's still around, and the feelings are still there for both of them. And he's I got you next time, and let me know what she needs, I'll get it, or I'll be there. And doesn't show up, doesn't have the money on time, doesn't have the money, period. Those type of things, to where like you see her keep falling into these little holes and traps with him, even though it's clear he's not good for her. And the other guy sees this too. So you have this dichotomy of the familiar bad boy, the good girl who has probably has a low self-esteem from not getting to where she was supposed to get, feeling like she is only good enough for a certain type of guy, maybe, is the vibe you get, versus the other guy who has a business, who actually seems to show genuine care and concern for her. He does, I believe, overstep once, which you'll see, and you'll be able to make that determination for yourself. But like again, you have the love triangle situation, and it had a chance to do something very stereotypical, and I was very worried about it, and really in one or two different ways. So fortunately, it did not go that way, and I'm very glad that the director, Channing Godfrey Peoples, did not go either of the potential ways I thought that relationship angle was going to go. Overall, Miss Juneteenth is a story of personal growth and acceptance of who you are, your story, and parenting, being able to let go of that one thing that you hold on to. I mean, I have my things personally that I wish I had done in my past, and et cetera and so forth. So it will hit home in those type of ways if you have those things. But then it's also a story about rewriting your path and rewriting your story. So again, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Love the cast, love the acting, love the storytelling. There's a lot to like about this movie. Overall, I have it right now at a 4.5. I think it's probably going to maintain that rating. I do adjust some ratings as the year goes on, but I think I'm giving Miss Juneteenth a pretty solid 4.5 for now. So we'll see if that changes by the end of the year. But right now, solid 4.5, Miss Juneteenth. It's available most video on demand platforms. I rented it on Amazon Prime. Definitely check it out. It's one I'd been hearing about for a very long time. It was already on my list. I just hadn't gotten around to it. But I'm definitely glad I watched it, loved it. And I've been in touch with one of the representatives. I might get an interview with either the director or the actress. We'll see. The second movie on the docket for tonight is Spell. Spell is a movie starring Omari Hardwick and Loretta Devine. It is... I knew I had to watch it as soon as I saw the trailer, because I love Loretta Devine, first of all, and it felt like a role that she was going to be amazing in. I was not disappointed in that regard. So basically, Spell, it is a horror movie. Basically, Omari Hardwick is a wealthy lawyer type, and he and his father had a bad relationship. They had not been, they were estranged, and his father lived in like the deep South. His father passes away. He gets the notice, if you will, and he has to go back home for his father's funeral. He has his uppity children and his wife, and apparently a private plane. So he gets the plane, and he's going to fly down to his father's funeral in the middle of the woods. Uh, on the way, bad things occur. The plane crashes, and he wakes up in a bed in a woman's house. And yes, that woman is Loretta Devine. And he's injured, and she promises she's going to nurse him back to health. Um, while this is occurring, he realizes that she's into some voodoo, hoodoo, whatever type stuff. And he doesn't know where his family is. She won't really tell him, or she tells him that she didn't see his family, and he's trying to figure out if he can get out of here. It reminded me of Misery in a sense, where the guy wants to go, and the woman clearly doesn't want him to go. Um, there were a few things to like about this movie. I think Loretta Devine, for me, carries it for the most part. There was some overacting in the beginning, or maybe it was just bad writing or directing. In the beginning, it felt like they were trying too hard to make Omari Hardwick's character seem like a big shot lawyer. Like the dialogue was just too much. His kids were goofy and weird. I didn't like them. I guess they were trying to get that across, that they were like grew up in privilege type of thing. And I was just very annoyed by them. So fortunately, they're out of the picture for most of the movie. But just the beginning the start got me off on the wrong foot. Once the plane crashes and he ends up in captivity, that's when things start to get fun for me. First, him trying to figure out where he is. Like you have to do in horror movies, you have to figure out why cell phones don't work. So, of course, he's in the woods, in the mountains. His phone's not working, so boom, that's taken care of. In this case, his foot is injured. So even though he's physically imposing and capable and should be able to handle himself against this little old lady, if you will, and her husband, they even also added a muscle character. So even if you thought with an injured foot he can still handle himself, his injured foot is keeping him from being able to truly take off and just leave. So you have that element of it. And then when he starts to realize what's going on, the mystical powers and elements start to come into play as to why he's unable to escape. And it does get very interesting. There was some stuff that is funny unintentionally, but that's fine with me. I like to laugh in my horror movies. Like it can't just be straight horror. I need to be able to laugh too. So the villain was interesting, because you don't know what she's capable of to a certain extent. And there were some scenes that were like a little bit over the top with the gore, if you will. I'm going to give one away. There's a scene where Omar Hardwick is pulling something out of his body, and it takes longer than I needed it to take for him to get this thing out. And it's like the visually disturbing. Like I'm getting disturbed. I had to cover my eyes just now thinking about it. And there's a couple other scenes that are like, I didn't need to see them. It was rough for a few scenes. But again, while it does have its shortcomings technically, if you will, the storyline and the way it's carried out are entertaining enough. Right now, I'm giving it a 3.5. I think it could probably drop down to a 3 by the time things are all said and done. I don't think it's a must-see, but if you're looking for a horror movie, you can't find anything else to watch, it's not a bad one to throw on and be able to either laugh at or be entertained by in some way, shape, or form. All right, and finally, the third movie on the docket is His House. Oh, by the way, Spelled the video on demand movie too. I think I rented it on Amazon as well. So anyway, His House is the third movie on the list. This one features Wunmi Mosaku, who she was most recently in Lovecraft Country as the sister of Jussie Journey Smollett's character. And I've seen her in a few things. I think she's in The End of the Bleeping World and another British show I can't think of off the top of my head. I think National Treasure Kiri or one of those other shows I watch. But I've seen her in very different roles, and she's a powerhouse. Anything she's in, I'm watching henceforth. So it's her and Sophie Derisu, who I don't believe I've seen in anything before. It is an immigrant horror movie. And I like the idea of the social thrillers, the thrillers that touch on real societal issues, and those societal issues are what shape how the characters react in the scenarios that they're in. So you look at a movie like Get Out, for example, and the fact that he's ignoring so many signs about things being wrong because he is trying to get past the discomfort of the meeting the parent situation. It's one of those type of movies. That's what someone compared it to. I wouldn't compare it to that as far as the way it's structured and the way it goes about trying to scare you. But as far as like a commentary on something, societal ills, if you will. So with His House, basically you have a couple who have escaped, I'm guessing, a war-torn country in Africa, and they arrive in Europe, England, I believe, and it's been a while since I watched these movies. So they arrive in England, if I'm not mistaken, London actually, and they're given a house eventually. Like, they're stuck in the camp for a while, you can tell, but they're eventually given a house to move into, to live in. And it's not great. The conditions aren't great, but it's a pretty sizable house. It has 2 floors. If you ignore all the crap that's all over the place, it's a good bit of space, basically. And they are given this house on like a trial basis to like show that they can assimilate and acclimate to their new surroundings, if you will. They're going to be given a weekly food allowance as far as money to spend, but they can't get jobs, which is weird to me. I guess so they're not like tied down. But basically they're put here on a trial basis. They're going to be given some money to take care of themselves, and here's your first step at coming in of your refugee status, if you will. So they get into the house, and pretty almost immediately something's wrong. The husband is seeing things in the house. In the wall, they're seeing like a little girl run past, and he's trying to catch her, type of thing. And it annoyed me at first because he would only see it when he was alone. I believe later the wife sees it when she's alone, and it's like, why are y'all never together when this is happening? Well, eventually it comes out that they do have the conversation about what they're seeing, and the husband is adamant that this is his house, he earned this, basically, and nothing is going to scare him away. Like, he's not going to lose this house. And throughout this, there were some genuinely scary moments in this movie that, like, not just jump scare type things, but legitimate, like, whoa, what is going on type of stuff. Now, I will say that I watched this movie with a lightweight who was terrified and covering her eyes, but I'm trying not to let that influence how scary I think it was. I do think it had some genuinely scary moments, because when certain things happen, I would check to see how she was reacting. to confirm that yes, this was bad, because the I'll go ahead and say, like, the goal with this picking this movie was to make sure it wasn't too scary because of who I was going to be watching this movie with, and I failed tremendously. It does have some flashback moments that give some detail as to why this might be happening to them, and so there's like a mystery element as well as to something that occurred along their journey. And so early in the movie, it's kind of hinted at that they may have lost their daughter on the way, like during their voyage to get to Europe. And over the course of the movie, you get more and more information about what occurred, and you eventually learn why it occurred, and then why they're responding the way they are to what's happening in the house. I think the movie does have a very interesting arc, a very interesting story, and the resolution itself was, again, it wasn't predictable at all, in my opinion, and it was an interesting way to resolve the movie because, in my opinion, it didn't look like it was going to go the way that it did. Personally, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Right now, I'm giving it a 4.5. That is subject to change. But right now, I gave it a 4.5. I enjoyed the acting. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the unpredictability. I thought there were some good, scary moments. And again, it's something different, something I haven't seen before. So whenever you can give me something I haven't seen before while still entertaining me and not making me feel like something you're doing is too heavy-handed or cheesy, then you have a win as far as I'm concerned. And now His House is on Netflix. I do recommend that one strongly. If you're a horror fan, definitely give it a shot. Yeah, I did talk to someone who said they didn't enjoy it as much, but I think for me, because I think it was the expectations. I forget what she said she was told before she watched it, but me being told that it was a Get Out type of movie made me think that there was going to be that element of being a conversation about something. And in this case, the refugee story, the horrors of things that occur while you're trying to make these dangerous treks. So again, I enjoyed it. I do highly recommend it, and I think I've done a great job of keeping this podcast concise. So thanks again for checking in. I had to make a tough call on the spacing or the season situation. So on this podcast, I'm doing movie reviews. I'm doing the sports commentary stuff for mostly Mav stuff. And with the NBA season starting up here this month, I had to make a tough call on to base my seasons around the calendar year or the NBA season. And I didn't want to split up coverage of the NBA season across two podcast seasons. So I've decided to go with the NBA season. So this is obviously covering 2020 movies, which is how I do my movies. But the NBA season has ramped up. I started it around the draft, so this will be on season 2, even though the movies will count towards 2020. And I don't know if I just made sense at all, but it's out there now. So thanks again for checking in. Like, once again, I'm your host, Mike Bibbins. The film side is Bibbs Film. I'm going to continue to push myself to be more consistent with using that account and trying to communicate. The film Twitter interaction game is not the same as the sports Twitter, and I feel like I followed a lot of foreign accounts, so just the dialogue and conversation is different. I'm doing my best, so I plan to do better. It's December now. I got a month here. I'm going to start laying out goals for 2021. I'm very close to some goals for 2020 with as far as engagement and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that, to try to knock that out over the course of these next 30 days. But thanks again for tuning in. You guys are actually listening to the movie stuff, which is why I've continued to keep it here. So continue to check in. Feedback is always appreciated. Reviews are definitely appreciated on Apple Podcasts, specifically those with words. Appreciate all those who have already left them. And I'm out.